Hey guys, Anthony 4x4 Diesel. I ain't no angel from heaven, but I'm here to help. So stay tuned. I've got a few bits of information here for you. We're going to include a little bit of information to do with the Hilux with the parabolic springs. It's got an engine on the back, where that ends up, where it is at the moment and where it ends up. We're going to also include how the cost of engines has gone up massive, just like everything else. So no longer getting engines around the price before, before they retailed about 10 grand, whatever. Well, guess what? Now it's 11 and a half. Anyway, engines have gone up, it seems like about 20%, and I'm sure they'll probably go up again. Also, how this engine that's on the back of the ute will be delivered to Greg for free, and how we got a discount on the engine by following some of the information and doing the right thing. So we're going to get started with one of the most important messages is, I know a lot of people like to bring their vehicles into the Prado hospital and get their servicing and repairs, and most people understand by now there's only one of me, so we can't do everyone's vehicles. So what we do is we have, when we find other repairers or workshops that we think are good, then they're the ones we may recommend. If we highly recommend them, if I put my name to it, that kind of means they're as good as me or better is my understanding, and I'd have no hesitation in taking my vehicle to them, trust them, and let them work on it unsupervised. So if I say, Martin up there in Sydney, or Kim over there in Sunshine, or whoever it is, they're the people that you can trust. There's more as well. I'm not going to drop all the names. There's not many because I don't put my name and reputation to many workshops. So we're all thankful that we've got them there to help. And obviously the other thing is we all need to take holidays from time to time. So I'd just like to announce, so that you can either get yourself organised a bit quickly than you had planned, or you can relax until after this time. We're taking quite a chunk of holidays this year, quite a few chunks actually, 3 chunks that will be quite large, making up for the last couple of years and making up for some other years as well, because we never took enough holidays. So we're going to get better at making up for it. So any Prado Hospital, any inquiries, and questions should be directed to our Facebook pages and groups anyhow. The phone service isn't a phone, it's a text service, and it's for purchasing parts, booking into the Prado Hospital, all that sort of stuff only. So from the 23rd of March, okay, so you've got until the 23rd of March, so you've got about 4 weeks to get yourself organised. Otherwise, then you can just relax. We're taking holidays, even if we're going to be around on and off for part of whatever the case may be. We're not going to be taking parts orders. Well, we'll take your order, absolutely. I'll take your order, I'll take your money, no problem. I've been around for years, everybody knows my reputation. Once we get back on deck, we'll get that kit organised. But you might want to just send me a message again on the 26th of April, because that's when we'll be fully back on deck. And you can say, hey, I paid you on the 10th of April, just reminding you in case, you forgot, because I'm not in a hurry, but, I'm just reminding you. That'll be awesome. Okay, let's have a look at this. First, let's have a look at this Hilux and see what putting the engine. Now, the engine, I'm going from memory here, I think they're about 170 or 170. Look, memory is 178 kilos. That could be the whole package or plus packaging. So there's an extra couple hundred kilos on the back of the alloy tray. These are the Dobinson's parabolic springs, and I'm not out here trying to tell you to go and buy Dobinson's parabolics, but this is the most comfortable Hilux I've ever driven. I like a bit of comfort, funnily enough, and all our Prados and Hiluxes are very comfortable to drive with the correct Dobinson's packages in there. But I don't want to become a Hilux suspension specialist and have to sell all that gear as well. So if you're listening and you really want to get a Hilux kit from me to support me, then that's fine, I'll help you out. Tuesdays is the day, but not between the 23rd of March and 26th of April, and subscribe, turn the bell on so you get all the updates, and go and like our Facebook pages, that sort of thing. I might, if I remember, try and put them in the end of this video, but watch all the videos because all the information's in this and other videos. Okay, so we've got the parabolics. They're not for carrying a heavy load. It's kind of like an up to 100 kilos thing, but then there's so many variables. Where did the vehicle start off with what tray were they talking about? Was it, with a standard steel tub or an alloy tray or a steel tray, and then say 100 kilos, like, a spring's a spring. You add weight to it, it goes down. So with this one, it sits quite high because it's just an alloy tray. It's got that toolbox on the side. You can see over this side here. There's not a lot of weight in there, not a lot of stuff. It's probably, let's say, 20 kilos in the toolbox itself. So it could be a total of about 40 kilos sitting over that side there. And of course, plus me when I'm in the vehicle driving. So the other side's pretty empty usually, but it still sits fairly level in the engine. Let's go over and have a look at the exact weight of the engine, eh? before we look up the weight, you can see the box, it's on a pallet. Let's just get in and have a look, because anyone that's been watching, you may have seen a video, and it's very difficult to do the measurements, okay, on you know, the height it's going to be at, so with different trays and that sort of thing. So we're taking a bit of an idea. If you look over the top of the tyre and get it level, you could still see that hole there, that square hole. So with, I reckon it's about 200 kilos on the back, you can just, it's kind of like in line with the top of the hole. I know in the camera there it's not showing you that, but if I get my eye, one eye, you know, do the wink thing, you know, and do the best I can to be level over the tyre, I believe the tyre is in the corner of that alloy. See where I'm holding it there? That's the real sort of, the actual. Now I'm going to go and have a look at this engine. Let's see if we can work out what the weight is. There it is, not a bad memory, 179.5 kgs. I think it was 178 on another one. They probably weigh them individually. So yep, with an engine sitting on the back, it still sits pretty good. I wouldn't say it's low or sagged. I'm holding the camera kind of level, you can see. Let's get a level and see what it looks like for you, right? Just trying to give you the view. You know, get a view, get a view. Let's have a view down here first. Look at the springs. They're not sort of like, you know, bent upwards, inverted, anything crazy like that. Let's have a look. Where are we? How far from the bump stops? Get some light in there. There we go, right, you know, so that's where it's at. You can also put those spaces in wherever you want as well. That's the other thing we've demonstrated in another video. You missed that one? Check it out. Subscribe, turn the bell on. Here we go with the level, right? So just a small cheap level so we can get it in the picture. Get the picture, get the picture. Do you get the picture? You can see where the bubble is. It's up this side. I nearly knocked it and I'll bust it. But what I want to do is lift it up to show you. There's still a heap of fall towards the front. So you could probably still add another 50 or 100 kilos before you're leveled out. But I'm suggesting that an alloy tray, I'm just trying to give you an idea so you can select your springs as part of this video. I would say that, you know, as they said, they say up to 100 kilos, so I'm saying you'd probably get a good 50 mil lift and a really comfortable ride with a steel tub without too much other accessories. If you've got an alloy tray, you can even put an engine on the back, because you can see it happening right here. Now, one thing I'm going to do actually, I'm going to go around, I'm going to put 100 kilos on the tow bar, because that's an extra 100 kilos, or actually, oh yeah, that's probably 107 at the moment. Anyway, big, got to cut down, mate, for a few days. So what I'm going to do is put the 100 on the tow bar, 107, whatever we said it was going to be, right? And see what happens. I'm on it. Did it move much? I'm off it. I'm on it. Hardly moved. So these springs are better than I'm told, or it says, or whatever, from what I can see, right? Back on it again. I'll bounce it. A little bit squeaky, maybe it's not used to going to that travel, and there's a couple of little plastic things went missing. But look, to give you an idea of how much it's still got, I'm going to lift up the level, because I know some people are going, you know, show me how much, just lift it, would you, and tell me, let me see the gap underneath. So here we go. To bring it to level, over the length of that level, you've got about 4 to 5 mil under this end here to get it level, right? And for the plumbers, because they talk, you know, one in this and one in that, right? So if that was 5 mil there, if this was here, we're doing mathematics now, how long do you reckon that is? 20 centimetres, 200 mil. So 200 mil, 5 into 200 goes, who's good at mathematics? 40 times, is that right? Let me think, yeah, 40 times, so it's 1 in 40, right? So it's a 1 in 40 fall. So now all the plumbers with the utes that are looking at Hilux suspension, hope they like that. Please put something in the comments if you like that. See how considerate I am. 1 in 40, it's still got 1 in 40 with an engine in the back. Now, I don't know, plumbers' tools and all the copper and all the tools and all the brass and that, mate, they get heavy. Don't put these parabolic springs in there, because look, I'm talking about the Dobinson's ones. I don't know if there's other ones. You do whatever you want. I'm just giving you feedback on these ones. I love them. They ride excellent. I was told, oh, you know, you're no good with the load and all that. And just even from the toolbox, oh, they might sag at one side or lean and, you know, you won't like it. It's not leaning from a toolbox. Toolbox weighs bugger all. Now we've got an engine on the back, and it's gone down, I reckon from the weight of that engine, it's gone down about 15 mil, 20 mil tops. Look, you can see it. I'll go do it again. I'm going to go jump on the back. Right, extra, and this is the worst point to add your weight. The further forward you add your weight, then you get less effect. But anyway, let's just do it. I'm going to stand on the tow bar, which is level with the back of the alloy tray. I'm on it, right? Not making any difference. If I bounce it, it goes down, but it just comes back up, see? On, off, on, off. Doesn't make any difference. Anyway, some people are having a laugh anyway, but look, I'm trying to demonstrate for people to understand, you know, see for yourself kind of information. Don't trust me. I'm not going to tell you what springs you need, because, you know, you need to look at the catalogue, check out the Dobinson's catalogue, and go, well, you know, I've got 400 kilos. Well, you're going to need to go for the heavy springs, unfortunately. All right, let's get on with talking about these engines. Before we do, let's just have a look at this side. See, it looks good. It doesn't look like it's heavy or loaded or whatever the case may be. It looks good. There's a good amount of, you know, decent amount of height in there still. And you can see the tray. Look, it just sits nice. It's kind of like an engine wants to live on there. Hey, anyone else want an engine delivery? I'm not going to spend too much time talking about these engines here. They've gone up a lot. List price is now 10.5 grand plus GST, so about 11.5 grand ballpark. Obviously, we get them a bit cheaper, but it varies on timing and pricing. They go up and down, but this is a big jump up, which is consistent with the devaluation of the dollar, right? The dollar, all the dollars have been devalued from all the, whether it's printing money or the number in a bank account, whatever, all the invented money, whatever you want to put it against, right? It causes massive inflation. We're in record inflation. We've talked about it a little bit in some other videos. Anything that you need to buy it ASAP, but then you won't be able to get it, because this is the problem, because everyone's got money, they're spending it, everyone's busy, not enough workers, crazy. Anyway, move on from that. The engines have gone up a lot. That's all you really need to know about that. Let me see how long this video has gone time for. I don't think we've got a lot of time left in this one to talk about Greg's engine. That's Greg's engine sitting right there in the box with a Metro sticker on it. Okay, so this is the deal. A bit over a year ago, Greg replaced his injectors on his 120. Now it's a 2008, and a year ago it was 13 years old. So original injectors for 13 years. Not good. It was close to 200,000 Ks. Yeah, not good. 13 years and 200,000 Ks on a 120, not good. So in this case, obviously some damage was already done to the pistons. He's got injectors, put those in, done the job himself, and only really done a few short trips, you know, lockdown, COVID, you know, all that stuff that I'm not going to talk about. Anyway, because of that, the vehicle didn't get driven much, like a lot of other people's vehicles, and obviously he didn't go too far, didn't do many Ks, and only short, easy trips, and the engine would have been running in peak condition. Excuse me, peak condition, absolute peak condition. Anyway, shortly afterwards, not long ago, let's say, it was a year after he put the injectors in, right? A few thousand Ks probably, I can't remember, I think he told me 8,000 Ks, 9,000 Ks, or a few thousand Ks, I really don't remember. Hooked up the caravan and away he went, and didn't get far from home, and poof, so did a job on that. So we're going to help him out a little bit. My initial help was, I was going to help him out actually, so he's obviously limited on what funds he can come up with for an engine. He was looking at rebuilds. I didn't really want him to get a rebuild, although I think the cost of the rebuilds have gone down in competition with the new engine, because it was a no-brainer, absolute no-brainer to get a new engine, because you could, if you shopped it around, you got the right price, you could probably get one with all the injectors, pops and everything they come with. Much better value for money than getting a rebuild. Okay, let's not talk negative, let's not talk about the rebuilds and all the problems. Let's talk about the oil leaks, the blowing smoke and the cracked pistons and all those reputable rebuilders that you heard off out there. Let's just talk about the brand new long motor. It is bulletproof, it's awesome, built in Japan, no questions asked. It's not going to burn oil, it's not going to blow smoke, it's not going to leak oil, none of this stuff, right? So look, I wanted to help him out. So initially I said, look, you know, what can you come up with? And he sort of said, mate, you know, 7 grand, somewhere like around there. So I said, all right, you get that together if you like, and I'll organise the engine. And then we talked about all the other stuff, you know, timing belt, oil tensioner, glow plugs, all the gaskets, blah, blah, blah. It goes on, drive belts, bearings, blah, 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 coolant and all that, whatever, right? So it goes on. And I said, mate, I'm just going to include all that, all right? So I'm wearing it here just to help out. We've got a crack piston fund there, but there's not that much there. You know, the original 12 grand belongs to the people that contributed specifically to a, you know, to an engine. So we've got to be respectful of that. And there was about another 7 or 8 grand there So, which is all right. It's not a bad balance to have, but it doesn't cover an engine. And there's been a few engines that popped. It seems to be something that happens once a year is a long time, but once a year seems to be the pattern is around Christmas or in the hotter months, and usually up north, or because it's hotter up there, so that can happen any time of the year. Seems to be in the hotter months anyway. Always, obviously, people towing caravans and stuff like that usually. Injectors too late usually, chips usually, tunes usually, all the usual stuff. But all the usual stuff taken out of the picture, there's always a reason. And pretty well every single vehicle that's had a cracked piston that's contacted me, I can come up with, you know, whether it was a chip or a tune, or the injectors were left in there too long, or it's got fuel contamination, or I noticed that one was blowing smoke, and then 6 months later kaflooey. And we've got another one of those at the moment. I'm not going to say whose car it is, but the injectors have been done, and I see it blowing blue smoke, and I go, this is suspect, because these cars don't blow smoke. It was just sitting there 10-15 minutes, the engine gets started, and a little puff of blue smoke. And I know a few people have had that, so let's not worry about it. But if we have that and then we have a cracked piston, they're the ones that I take note of, and I go, aha, that was cracked already, and it just took a bit more time for the hole to blow through it, right? So I don't want everyone to get worried about this stuff. I'm just trying to say, this is what we did. We helped out Greg. He's getting about, now as it turns out, I mean, the list price of the engine, 11.5, plus all those other bits, he's getting about 13 or 14 grand worth of parts for 7 grand, right? So if you're on channel, if you've done the right maintenance and change your injectors when they were due, and even if you haven't, there's some assistance available, you know. And, you know, if you've got a later model vehicle, there's a possibility, you know, Mr. Toyota apparently has been paying for a few under warranty, and I think they should be paying for them all, you know. But once you've got a vehicle that's 13 years old, it's a hard case, and unless you want to go and present your case to Mr. Toyota and deal with that, then there's other options. So since the price has gone up, we're probably going to have to use some of the money out of the crack piston fund. At the end of the day, I was hoping not to. I just wanted to save it there for the next one, or we've got a couple on the go at the moment. There's someone else that's got an engine cheap, and we're going to contribute and help him out. And there's been a couple, but I don't know, it might not be, you know, people in our massive VIP group. It may be just people in general. I can't remember. I see posts here and there on Facebook, and then you see one post, and then you see replies later, and you see it again. You start thinking there's all these cracked pistons, and it's all the same car, or there's the same 2 or 3 cars for the whole year, if you know what I mean. So out of hundreds of thousands of Prados and Hiluxes, if you get a handful of cracked pistons a year, I don't say it's too much to worry about. It's small. You know, there's other brands that have got bigger problems, let's just say. Anyway, that's what's going on. Greg's getting it cheap because he is. If anybody doesn't know about it, you know, there's no guarantee, but if you want to make a contribution to that piston fund, it's basically a donation. We keep it in a separate bank account, and then when it happens, we've got some funds there put aside to help out, you know. And obviously, the people that have helped it, we've got people that are regular contributors, you know. So the regular contributors, they are in 4x4 diesel VIP's gold class or something like that it's called, whatever. If you're interested, you make the contribution. You're probably in the VIP group already. You can ask the details of the other group. Join the other group. If you're not on Facebook and you want to make a contribution, that's cool too. Just send me a text message on Monday morning. We don't want people that can't afford it. I mean, sometimes some of the nicest people, they can't afford it the most. We don't really want that to happen, you know. We want people that have got spare money, that can afford to contribute, that may want some assistance themselves one day, to be the people that are contributing, okay? So, but yeah, if you're not on Facebook, just shoot me a text message on Monday morning. I'll send you the details. You can put it in, and then I'll say you can join the gold class, but you're not on Facebook, so it doesn't matter. You can just feel good that you've helped someone out. Obviously, it all goes to a good cause. It goes to nothing else but engines at this stage. We sort of said if there was ever a surplus and there was more money getting put in than engines needed, we'd pay for stuff like turbos, or, you know, the odd other little bits, and sort of the bigger bits. So if somebody did a transmission or a turbo or something like that, if the funds were there for the contributor, for a contributor only, we could then, you know. So the point is, the more you contribute, or regularly, not a big amount. We don't want big amounts, just $50 to $100. We don't want 500 or 1,000 or 2. If you're loaded and you want to put in 10 grand, beautiful. Put in 10 grand, we'll just have another engine ready to go, right? But, you know, just be reasonable about it. Don't put in too much, okay? $50 to $100. If you want to do something every few months, that'd be awesome. Anyway, this is a pretty long video. We covered those few aspects as promised, I think. Better just go and have a think about that. If we did, like I said, I know you subscribe with the bell on already. Hit the like button and bada bing. Catch you soon. See ya. The other thing we're going to do just quickly is we're going to monitor the setup. This vehicle is going to sit here. It's not going to move. I'm going to take some measurements now. It's just been loaded up in the last hour. Literally, this is how we roll. Boof, had some time to get the engine, bang, in it comes, and bang, video time to share that information. We've got to make the time to do that. But what we're going to do is take some measurements now, and that is going to sit there for days, okay? Well, see how it works out, but days. We're coming up to weekend. There's no more vehicles coming into this Prado hospital on this hoist for days. So for as long as we can, we're going to let it sit there. It's not going to move. And I'm going to take some further measurements at the rear, and you'll only hear from me if it's dropped anything significant. If it's a couple of mil, I'm not going to talk about it. If it drops another 20 mil, or I come down the next morning and go, holy cow, Batman, what's going on here? I'm going to let you know about it. You need to know about these things. So I hope it's helped you with a few aspects here, including choose which suspension, perhaps. The parabolics are for very light loads, but it doesn't mean you can't chuck an engine in every now and then, because as you can see, it works well. I'm really happy with the height, the comfort, and that I can put an engine or chuck a couple 100 kilos on the back temporarily and still have a really good lift. That's how it's worked out to this vehicle. It could be different for yours, so beware and do your calculations very carefully.